Welcome to another episode of Founders Club. Today we're going to be talking to Adam Lyons, the founder of the Smartblueprint.com. He's also a marketing advisor to brands like Pepsi, Nescafe, and Nike, and he's a top coach for Ryan Dice and Roland Frasier at Scalable. We're going to be talking about how his background as a pickup artist taught him the game of selling and how to scale any business in a massive way, his smart strategies for helping you sell more real estate, and how to build a large community of real estate buyers right in your local market. If you have any questions, put them in the box down below. Make sure you elbow drop that like button so other people just like you can find this video. And if you like money and you like real estate, hit that subscribe button because this is the channel for you. We'll see you on the inside. Welcome to Founders Club, the show for real estate entrepreneurs. All right, welcome everyone. Excited to be here with Adam Lyons. We met a while back at a couple different masterminds. He came and spoke at one of our masterminds, and just really excited to pick his brain because I think he has a really unique perspective on business and marketing and how to grow our businesses. So welcome, Adam, and thanks for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
So, for those that don't know a lot about Adam, you kind of started in like the pickup artist kind of dating space. So why don't we start with kind of how you started, and then I want to go a little deeper on those things.
Yeah, sure. So 26 years old, I'm a janitor. I open doors for people, take out their trash, collect the mail. Do janitorial stuff. It's kind of sad and lonely. And the dating coach, pickup artist movement was kind of like a thing for sad, lonely men back then. And I signed up and kind of got really disappointed with it. It was very fake, a lot of pretending to be someone you're not, a lot of like manipulation. I don't like any of it. But one thing you couldn't deny was that these guys were getting results. And so I was like, well, I'm going to look at why they're getting results. And I realized it wasn't because they were lying and manipulating. They were just choosing to do that. They were getting results because they were actually going out there and actually listening to what people say. And that was the key component. They would then use what they heard and manipulated, which wasn't cool, but it was the listening that was a key factor. So I decided that I would test every single psychological phenomenon I could find about human communication in person on the streets of London. And I stood for a year and a half just standing at Piccadilly Circus. If you've never been there, they say that at Piccadilly Circus, if you stand there for 24 hours, you'll bump into someone you know. And I can tell you for a fact, that's right. I saw somebody I knew every single day. And I was just testing different psychological studies. I pulled out my old psych books from when I was in school. And I learned like what makes a good conversation, what makes somebody smile, what makes somebody want to talk to you, what makes them want to hang out with you. And I had a whole thing that I was going to do it ethically. I was going to do it without any manipulation. And the words that I was using, it kind of got around. Like everyone was like, wow, this guy's doing it different. Like people really want to, really want to learn. They wanted to learn what I was doing because people want to hang out with me. And I would have groups of people following me, trying to learn from me. And this got to a point where I was teaching for free. I was just like, yeah, you should do this, and just helping out. And I got so swamped with demand for people that wanted to learn from me that I didn't know how to filter them, and people started throwing money at me. And once money started coming, then I fell into the business. The problem is I didn't learn how to build a business. I was just being given money. It wasn't a lot of money either. It was like $100 at a time. But I now had this problem where I was earning more doing that than I was as a janitor. So it made sense to stop being a janitor, but I didn't know how to grow the business. And that's how I ended up getting into business and marketing. I was like, well, I need to learn this. And so many, many years and lots of mistakes later, which I think everyone can attest to, a lot of fake gurus. I found Roland Frasier. And Roland Frasier, I could tell instantly he knew what he was doing. He was a very smart guy. He was also very expensive. And so everything I could afford of his, I bought. And that wasn't a lot, but whatever it was, I did. And I kind of became known as like one of Roland's top students. And I would just listen to what he said and put it into practice. And before you know it, I got really good. Really, really good. And I learned to grow my business through a number of different techniques that, were all pioneered by Roland. And then I started looking at other marketers that I realized were good and started taking a little bit from here and a little bit from there. And then I kind of like developed my own stuff in my own right. which brings us to today. And now I own 8 different companies. I specialize in mergers and acquisitions. I am one of the head coaches for Roland Frasier's Epic coaching program, which is all about buying other businesses and growing through acquisition. I'm also one of the head coaches for Scalable, which is Ryan Dice's program, which is all about the scalable operating system of how to stabilize and build your business. And I've got a bunch of my own clients as well that we teach the blueprint that I've developed for business. So I stand out. It's funny. I was just looking over my numbers the other day. I've got a promotion that I'm doing where I never really thought of myself as a copywriter, but I think that the skills from being good at dating plus learning business naturally translate into being good at sales and negotiations, which is my strong point. But I was like, wow, I wonder how good a copywriter I am. So I just pulled up the numbers of the last couple of years of how much money I've made via email alone. And in just my dating business, from writing 1 email a day, so not any live trainings or webinars, just emails, I've made $6.8 million in the last few years, just from written word. And that was like a shock to me because like I knew it was a good number, but I didn't know exactly how much it contributed. And I can go right back to the very first lesson I learned in dating, which was listening. One of the reasons that I'm really good at email writing is I listen to the replies from my clients, from the people that write back to me, and I see what they really want. And so when I write an email, I'm not just like, this is what you need. I'm like, what do you think you need? And then I'm giving it to them. And the act of that, it really is at the heart of my entire business, of everything I do. Even when I'm doing an acquisition, like buying a $10 million company I was negotiating the other day, I always start by sitting down with the owner of the company. I say the same thing. Why do you want to sell this? Like, why do you really want to sell it? Because once I know what they want, it's so much easier to help them get it. And of course, the byproduct of that is usually that I get what I want to.
Wow. So very cool story. I want to just take a step back to London in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
How did you know that that was something that you were good at? Because obviously, you got people to pay you money, like you said, to kind of share your skills. So, like, what was it?
Initially, I wasn't. I mean, I was just standing there and getting rejection after rejection. I mean, I remember it was pretty funny. There was like the dudes that would try and convince you to go to the nightclub and me. And first of all, they thought I was from a competing nightclub. And they'd come up to me and be like, yo, which nightclub are you promoting? I'm like, oh, none. I'm like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm just trying to get a girl's phone number. They're like, what, are you for real? You just stand in the street just talking to women? He's like, you're here for 8 hours a day like us. I was like, yep. And he's like, you get any phone numbers? I was like, nope. They're like, man, you suck. I was like, I know. But 8 hours a day. I mean, I did that for like 1.5 years. And then I got good. Like, and it took a while. I think it was 12 weeks before I got my first phone number, before somebody was like, hey, here's your phone number. But I mean, there was a point, there's actually a pretty, I'd say, famous video. There's a video on the internet, it's got like 500,000 views, which was one particular night where I met somebody and within 60 seconds, she made out with me and somebody caught it on camera. But in my hand is a piece of paper, and I have 200 phone numbers on that piece of paper from that particular night. And again, I wasn't looking to date anyone, and I was very upfront with everyone. I was like, look, I would say to people, like, I'm not looking to date, because like, why are you here in the middle of the street? And I was like, I'm just looking to learn about dating. Like, I'm trying to meet people. And women would talk to me. They'd be like, oh, well, this is a good tip, and this is a good tip. And then they'd be like, let me give you my phone number, and we can keep talking. So that kind of worked. Just telling people the truth was cool. But I learned so much just being on the street corners. And what happened is guys, especially back then in 2006, there were a lot of guys learning this whole, seduction thing. They would just see me in the streets because I was standing in the middle of Piccadilly Circus, and I would often be surrounded by 4 or 5 women talking to me. So guys would come up, what's going on? What's going on? And I'd tell them, oh, I'm just here practicing. And they're like, yo, you're always here. I'm like, yep, 8 hours a day without fail. Just treated it like a day job.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So like how does that world transition to business? Because I know that a lot of the skills are similar, and I'm sure a lot of the stuff translates in terms of just conversation, image, first impressions, all of those types of things.
Yeah, there is a lot of things that translate. A lot of communication obviously is like a key component. But for me, the biggest truly is actually listening to the other person. I can't tell you how often as humans we don't listen. And it's, if you think about going into a business deal, you never think I'm going to listen. You always think this is what I want to say. right? Everyone, every one of us. If you know, I know there's a lot of realtors listening here. Like, you always think, I am going to pitch this way, or this is what I'm going to sell. Or maybe you think, I'm going to find the thing they want, as if you're in control of it, right? Actually, not a lot of people know this about me, but during the time when I was like learning the whole dating thing, I actually did some real estate on the side. That was something I was doing. I did real estate sales for a year and a half. And when I was doing it, I was really lazy at it. I only did one showing a week, but that one showing was to every single person on my buyers list. So I'd find one home and I would go there on a Saturday afternoon. I would sit there for like 4 hours and I would just invite everybody to come and see this house at the same time. I didn't like have an open house. I gave everyone a 15-minute window, the same 15-minute window. So they would all arrive at the same time and see all these other people. I'm like, I know it's such a hot spot, this one. It was because I invited everyone at the same time. And
Yeah,
that concept,
I want to get the full story on this because you shared this with me once before, and I think it's like it's so good, and I think it's something that everyone can use in their own business. So why don't you like really break it down for me how you used to do
so
that?
it's a dating concept. And when I was trying to get out of doing the janitorial stuff, I was looking for other jobs because I wanted to make more money because, you know, dating, right? I was the janitor thing paid $300 a month. It was nothing, but it came with a free apartment. So I had like this apartment. I was trying to find other jobs, and I got really good at real estate. It's actually where I started making a lot of money. But I was only working 1 day a week. So what happened is, initially I was really bad at it. I was trying to sell stuff all the time and that didn't work. And I was like, I need to pull what I know about dating, you know? So what I did was, in dating, one of the most powerful concepts is pre-selection. Basically, it's other people think you're attractive, you're attractive. So as long as you're surrounded by beautiful people, other people will want to date you. And I was like, well, what if I did that with selling houses? So what I would do is I would find a house that I knew was easy to sell. So that was the first step. And in London, that was homes that were just under £500,000. The reason is there's a tax break that kicks in over £500,000, or a tax increase that goes in over £500,000, that you pay an extra percent on the purchase. And that 1% makes a big difference. So people are always trying to get just under 500,000. So I'd look for a home that had a value of between 400 and 500,000, knowing that it's going to sell at 499,999, right? Because they want to dodge that 1%. The seller understands it, the buyer understands it. It's just a really good concept, and the commission on that's pretty good. So I realized that I'd make a lot of money if I sold one of these a week. So I would just spend my energy during the week finding one of those properties. Now, I would try and get them to sign on with our agency. If not, I would find another agent that had a property. The point being that on a Saturday afternoon, without fail, for 15 minutes, I would have this property. And like I said, it took me a few hours because I would go there early and I would tidy it up and make sure it all looked good. And I would tell everyone, I've only got one window. The window is at 1 p.m. or something. It's 15 minutes and there's going to be other people there because it's the only window I can get in. That's what I would say to people. So I would end up with, one time I had like 22 people or something turn up. This is not an open house. This wasn't like go and wander around. This was, I open the door and there's 22 people turn up and they all look at each other. I'm like, hey guys, I'm sorry. This is the only 15-minute window I can get here today. I'm going to walk you guys around and I'll show you everything. As you can tell, there's a lot of you here. Now, the truth is some of them didn't want this property. Some of them were like a 700K, some of them were at 300K. It didn't matter. I just wanted the one buyer to be scared that they wouldn't be able to buy it, right? And there was usually 3 or 4 buyers, realistically. And so I'd bring them in, show them the property, and then I would say to all of them at once, I'd say, okay, as you can tell, this is a great property. It's good for the value. If it's not for you, that's fine. But for those of you guys that want it, what I don't want is a bidding war. I think we can all agree, right? And you'd see people go, oh yeah, we don't want a bidding war. By the way, everyone that says we don't want a bidding war, they're your buyers. The other people don't care. But the buyers don't want a bidding war. So I'd see instantly, okay, these people are the buyers. So I already know now, just from that one line. And then I'm saying, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a blind offer. I'd like everybody to put forward your absolute best offer. Look around the room, see the other people that are here going to offer. You're going to get one chance. We're not going to go backwards and forwards. Once everyone puts forward their best offer, I'm going to present all of them to the seller, and I'm going to let the seller choose. We're going to give benefits towards the highest cash price. That's going to be the one that's I'm probably going to lean them towards. After that, it'll be the highest value. I was like, so, just if any of you can do cash, I'd highly recommend high cash is going to get this to go. If you're wondering what price it is, the properties on the market are 475. Some of you are going to think, okay, well, I'm going to offer 460. You're going to lose this, right? At 460, this is lost. You won't get it because somebody's going to offer the asking price. Realistically, there's a price, there's a tax increase of 500. So no one's going to offer 500. If you want to guarantee to get the property, I would recommend 4999999. That's my recommendation. You don't have to do it. And I would walk out. Sure enough, within an hour or so, I'd have at least one offer for 4999999. Go back to the seller. So I got some great news. I've sold the property for 25,000 above what you asked. You've got 2 offers. One's cash. One's with repayments. Just so you know, there's a couple of other offers, but they're a bit less than that. I presume you want to take the biggest ones. Do you want to go with the cash offer or the other one? Okay, do it again next week.
Yeah, I love that. Just leveraging the other people around factor to drive the emotions and get people to take action on it.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, then that was a key component, like, of dating that I learned. Like, you're far more attractive when other people think you're attractive. So having a healthy social life is like a really key factor of attraction. And what's great is, like I said, like, you're not really manipulating people. I mean, there's a little bit of misdirection going on when you're saying to people, I've only got a 15-minute window, because I'm not explaining why I only have a 15-minute window. The assumption from them will be, that's the only time I can get in the property. The reality is I want to go to lunch. So I'm just not telling them why I've only got 15 minutes. But the psychological impact of that is that it makes it a lot easier because they can see the other buyers, as opposed to other realtors who will say something like, oh, there's a lot of offers in this property. And everyone's like, yeah, but are they though? Are you lying?
Yeah.
With me, there is no doubt about whether there are other offers. They can see them.
Yeah, that I like that strategy too for like open houses. Instead of doing an open house for 4 or 5 hours on a Saturday, do it for 30 minutes, 60 minutes at the most, and let everybody kind of see the other people there and drive up the interest and kind of turn up the fear of missing out.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you want to go crazy with that, I would probably have a bunch of like expensive champagne or something and be like, you need to arrive at such and such time for champagne and canapes. So they know, okay, I need to arrive rather than I'll come at the back of it. I'll be there at the beginning because I'll get that, So that's the kind of stuff. Just make sure that you, like, I always think about creating the visual that I want. So the visual I want is a lot of people in the house having a lot of fun and seeing other buyers. And I just focus on that. I don't focus on the sale. Again, I focus on listening. And my buyers want to know that they're buying something other people want. That's actually a component. No one wants to buy a house no one wants, right? You want to buy a house other people want and you want to get it. So putting a bunch of buyers at the same time lets them know, okay, other people think this is great. So it's no longer a question of, is it great? It's definitely great because other people think it is. Now it's just a question of you want it. And that helps because a lot of people are like, is this a bad deal? Is this no good? But all that disappears. Is the realtor being manipulative? No, like you can see the other buyers. There are real buyers here.
Yeah, no, it's a good strategy. I like it.
Thanks.
One thing that I keep hearing you say that keeps coming up is that you have to listen. It's come up several times already on this conversation. So let's talk about that a little bit. Like what are you listening for? And then what are you doing with the information once you're listening?
So yeah, like I think the sell me your pen thing, right? Everyone knows the sell me your pen, but most people don't understand the answer to the question. The answer is, if they need a pen, you can sell it to them. That's the concept. So you always say to somebody, do you have a pen? They say, no. Can you sign this contract? No. Why not? I don't have a pen. Great. And then you sell the pen. So the whole point is you generate the need first. Listening is really the art of identifying the need, sometimes before the person has even acknowledged it's a need. And if you can nail this on the head, if you can really build up your active listening to where you can hear what is going on before anything's being said, you become a very, very good salesperson. Like your negotiation skills go through the roof. And so what I'll do is when I'm trying to sell something, I won't really focus on selling. I'll almost seem like I don't care about selling something. So, I would say to people, hey, honestly, I'm going to lunch today. I don't really care if anyone buys or not. Like, so I'll get it out of the way early. Like I'm really not putting in full effort today. And then I'll say to them, so if you've got any questions, like ask, but I don't want to pitch this to you, right? If you don't buy it, it's great. I get to go home early. So I would tell them right off the bat, like, I don't want to do this. But what I've done is I've opened up a floor where now they can tell the truth. The truth is I don't care about selling it, so I'm not going to put effort in. And people would almost rather that rather than me pretending to put effort in, but they can tell I don't really care. I'd rather they knew I don't really care and I'm going to put minimal effort in. But if you want my attention, please ask for it. So what happens now is they'll ignore me, I'll ignore them, and I can be on my phone, like really just do whatever the hell I want. And then they're going to come up to me and they're going to ask me a question. Now, the minute they ask me a question, dynamics changed. They're saying to me, I want to talk to you. Now, there's a beautiful visual of I've been messing around on my phone, and now they've called me, and that phone goes in my pocket. Now I give them my 100% undivided attention. I was like, hell yeah, what do you want? Like, I'm with you. Now they're going to start listing the kind of things. Like, so they might say, what's the school district like? You know, what's the area like? And this time I'll be like, look, I'll be honest with you. If you'd have asked me this question about 3 years ago, I'm like, it depends. Do you have a bulletproof jacket? Because if you do, this area is great. Other than that, I'd be worried. So you start by giving them the bad and like the real bad. Like, let them, don't hide anything. Just tell them what's really going on. Because when someone says, and this is what I'm saying about that listening, what's the school district like? What they're really asking is this a place I can raise a family? It's a very different question. And so I'm going to bypass the school district question. I'm just going to talk about the area and a family. I'm like, this place used to be dangerous. I was like, is it still dangerous? There's probably some elements that are rough, yeah. But you got to ask yourself, are you buying this because you want safe and you're willing to pay a premium because it's been safe for a while? Or do you want to enjoy the uptick on the property value as we transition into gentrification? Like, what do you care about more? So I'm going to have this very real discussion because I can hear they're not saying, what's the school district like? They're saying, will my family be safe? Would this be a good environment to raise children? Right? And so that's what I mean by active listening. And it's funny, I'm always trying to tell my staff this. It's not the question they're asking, it's the question behind the question. There's always, because people are trying to angle you. So they'll have like 5 questions they ask you, but there is a deeper question going on, right? So what's the school district like? Is there any new developments in the area? You know, where's the nearest, police station? Like, these questions are, I'm scared for my safety. On the other hand, if somebody's like, where's the nearest bar? Where's the shopping centers? This person's looking for somewhere they can reach on foot, or somewhere where, they want to go drinking in the evening and walk home. So it's different kind of questions, but that tells me they're into socializing. So at that point, I'm going to angle it much more on, look, there's a lot of really cool young professionals in this area. Networking is going to be good for you. And they haven't asked me about networking, but I know that's what's to talk about because I can tell that's really what they're angling for. And again, making sure that when you give this, you never sell, like, you don't want to sell them on it. Don't tell them how great something is. Just tell them the real raw truth and let them, but with the opportunity, because in a bad situation, it's the opportunity for growth. In a good situation, there is no growth, but everything's already safe. And then if the buyers feel you're on their side, they're only going to buy from you. And even if this property isn't right or this whatever isn't right, it doesn't matter. They're going to buy from you. Case in point, we befriended the realtor that we bought this place from. We bought four properties through this realtor. Not all of them are in their district, to the point that we're looking at a home in Alaska, and we've said to our realtor, we'll pay for you to get certified in Alaska to buy the home through you, because we have learned to love our realtor, because our realtor goes above and beyond for us as humans. When there was a snowstorm in Austin, we live just outside of Austin, and our realtor visited every single one of our properties during the snowstorm to let us know if there was anything wrong with them. One of them had a burst pipe, and it was our realtor that phoned us and said, hey, I drove by your property. I mean, how amazing is that as a person? She visited every single home that she'd sold in the last 5 years to see if there was any damage, but only the homes where the people want home. I just blown away by that kind of level of commitment. But that's a person that listened. She knew that we were buying these and we weren't going to live in them, that we were using them to rent them out for events and stuff like that. So this is, again, she listened. It's not just hearing, it's listening and understanding. And so, yeah, we will pay for her certification in any state that she wants to in America to make sure we only buy through her. We have referred her millions of dollars of business because she listened. And so I think in general, like in dating, that's what makes me great, is I listen. And I often say to people, like, what's the best date you've ever been on? Real casual question. But now I know the best date they've ever been on. And now when I work out what my first date is going to be, you can be damn sure it's going to be that and a little bit extra. So just knowing how to ask the right question, it makes all the difference. I'm never overselling. I'm never pushing too hard. I'm just learning what the problem is and fixing it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. That's a really good way to look at it. And then, like you said, it's not just listening, it's listening and taking action on, what the people are actually saying and what they actually want.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and it's that, like I said, it's that deeper question. What's behind the question? And again, you really don't want to ask them what it is. You really just want to observe it and then just start answering it. That's because that's what they're going to be like. Oh, this guy gets me. And I think that's, the biggest thing in any industry I've been in. They're always like, Adam gets me, or Adam gets it.
So walk me through how you get them to feel that way.
Yeah, so the key component is starts from listening and then working out what's really going on. Look, I always think like this: when you've got a prospect contact you, they want to buy, because a lot of salespeople will be like, "Oh, they're a time waster." There's no such thing as a time waster. There is no time wasters. They're all buyers, but there are buyers that are ready to buy, and there are buyers that are not ready to buy. The question is, are you going to help the ones that are not ready to buy or not? And that all depends on where you're at. If you're cash rich and time poor, then just focus on the buyers. If you're not cash rich, if you don't like I have enough money, I don't have to work ever again. If you don't have that kind of money, then you probably want to make sure that you're working on the ones that aren't buyers yet, and they'll become buyers in the future. And the way to do that is to listen and really hear what's going on and just focus on delivering a good friendship where you actually add the value, and they're only going to buy from you, or they're only going to refer to you, or what have you. It's funny, in the Smartblueprint is my business program, and in that program we talk about there's 3 phases to a customer's journey. The first is education, where the customer is just looking to learn things. They're not ready to buy yet, they just want to learn more about it. So you think about that, like when you're going to buy a car, the very first car, you're going to look at different brands. What kind of car do I want? Do I want something with a convertible? What's the maintenance on a convertible? You're just in the education mode. Or if you're going to buy a house, where do I want to buy it? How big's the house? How do I get a mortgage? The education phase. And it's funny because most realtors never bother with the education phase. They just focus on I'm going to show you a house. But what if you had a leaflet, a video, a training, a seminar where you did educate people on how to buy a house? Just, by the way, if you're a first-time buyer, you've never bought a house before, this is my 101 on everything you need to know to buy a house. You're probably going to want to be pre-approved. If you don't, the first house you try to buy, someone's going to buy it off you because they are pre-approved, right? Silly little things like that. So the new buyer's like, oh, get pre-approved, got it, right? So you collect all this cool stuff. So in the beginning phase, you're just at the education process. Now, most people get irritated with customers in the education process because, oh, this guy's an idiot. They're just uneducated. You haven't educated them yet either. That's your fault, right? So the first part of the Smart Blueprint is how do you educate people? And you always want to educate them in a way that doesn't eat your time, in my opinion. So that's why I like videos, ebooks, creating stuff like that, just material you can give people. Now, normally I will exchange their contact information for that piece of material. So imagine if I'm a realtor and I've got an office and someone walks in my office and like, hey, we're looking to buy. And I'm like, okay, cool. Have you ever bought before? First question I'll answer. Not like, where do you want to buy? What kind of home are you looking for? Have you ever bought a property before? Just how experienced is this person? And they're like, no, it's first time. It's like, great. I want to give you a piece of advice. Before you start looking at properties, really important that you understand the entire process of how to buy. A lot of people lose like thousands of dollars because they don't know how to do this. I have a free video that I've created that explains everything you need to know. It takes 20 minutes. It's very, very quick. May I send you that? A person like, yeah, it's free. It's completely free. Yeah, sure. Excellent. Would you just fill in this form? Now I've got their information. They're filled in, but to receive a video, not for me to look for properties for them, to just give them some education. And I don't even try and sell them anything. I'm just like, hey, I got this education. By the way, if you've got any questions, this is my phone number. You can phone me. I'll answer everything. I've got contacts for everything you need, from mortgages right through to helping with credit. If you've got a credit problem, I know how to get that fixed. Bada boom, bada bing. So I'm just educating. By the time they finish the education process, I should have their contact information and they should want to listen to me. Which brings us to the next phase of the Smart Blueprint, which is the indoctrination phase. In the indoctrination phase, I just want to help them think like me. So I've already educated them. They're like, we like what this guy has to say. And now I'm like, can I teach you my process? I have a process. Would you like to learn my process? And this is what yeah, I do. I want to know this process. So now I'm going to take them through my process. Okay, so number 1, get pre-approval. Number 2, identify the area you want to buy in. Number 3, identify the the size of property you want to buy or what have you. So you take them through this process. So by the end of it, you can almost give them a checklist that they can tick off as they complete items. So now they've gone through the indoctrination process, which is the second process. And that brings us to the third process, which is the conversation process. So you have education, indoctrination, conversation. And in conversation, that's the only point where I start selling. So now They're fully educated. They know what they're doing. They've ticked off a bunch of boxes. They're pre-approved. Everything's great. And I'm like, are you guys ready to go and hunt for a house? And I'll be like, yeah, we are. I'm like, great, let's go. Now I can schedule them on a meeting with a whole bunch of other people to look at the one property that I really want to sell. And they're probably going to just jump on it. They're ready. They're pre-approved. They're good to go. They're hot to trot. In my indoctrination process, I used to tell people, a lot of people make the mistake of not buying the first house they look at. And this is so contrary to what everyone said. Everyone said, don't buy the first one, look at a whole bunch of others. I'm like, now people make the mistake. Chances are the first one we find you is perfect because there are not many properties on the market. I'm going to take your exact criteria. I'm going to punch it into my computer. And my computer, the top thing that comes up is going to be the best property. It will be the largest for your value that matches as much your criteria as possible. Everything else will be a deviation from that and probably worse. The biggest mistake, in my opinion, buyers make is they'll look at that one and be like, let's look for something better. They look around, decide they want the original one, and then it's gone. So say, just so I know before we look, which type of buyer are you? If we nail it first time, will you buy that one? Or are you going to want to shop around? Normally people are like, no, if it's good first time, I'll buy it. I'm like, are you sure? Yeah. I'm like, all right, great. I got a property this Saturday. You can come at 1 o'clock. A few other people are coming to look at it. I'll get you in. That's it. And they'll look at it and they'll be like, we're not going to make the same mistake other people make. We're going to buy this one. I'm like, great, cool.
I like that. I like the whole blueprint, how you kind of take them through. What was it again? Education, indoctrination, conversation. Yeah, that's very cool.
Conversation's the selling. Education is just answering their questions. The indoctrination is teaching them to learn your process.
Yeah. Yeah, makes total sense. And then what you're spitting out the other end is people that are basically ready to go.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I'm dealing with the people that others don't want to deal with. I'm willing. Now there are some people that are already going to be at the end, which is fine. I'll just sell them. If they already know everything, they're pre-approved, everything's good. If I'm like, have you ever bought property before? Like 7. I'm like, great. What are you looking for? Right? We got it. You are ready to buy.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's very true. And that's something we talk a lot about too, is just going further upstream with the prospects because the further upstream you go, especially with the education piece, the more leads are just going to trickle in your way. And yes, to your point, they might not be ready to go right now today, but if you have a lot of them and you nurture them and indoctrinate them and eventually turn those into the conversations, then you're going to build yourself a nice pipeline over time.
Bingo.
Cool. So, for those that want more info on your smart business blueprint, it's just thesmartbusinessblueprint.com. Do you want to walk them through what they'll find there?
Yeah, so it's thesmartblueprint.com. If you go there, there's actually probably the best thing is a PDF download that has all of the tools that we use in business. And I like that. Like that's our education because the first thing we want to give people is that these are all the tools that we use. So you can go there, you can download them. And the whole thing is it's got our affiliate link all the way through it, right? So if you get all those tools, we get paid on every single one. Again, just full disclaimer, no need to hide anything. Not saying you have to buy them, but we explain what the tools are, why we use them, and how they help us grow the business. Everything from, getting in the top pages of Google, right through to how we message our customers and manage our CRMs, all that kind of good stuff. And that's our education. So we're like, look, this is the tools we use. And this is the process that we put people through, which I've already given you guys. And then if somebody likes that, they'll move into the indoctrination process, which is a bunch of free videos that talk about what the Smart Blueprint is. Smart Blueprint's 5 elements. Like I said, it always breaks down to the 3 phases, but we also cover staffing, marketing, building an audience, revenue, which is sales, and then testimonials. I think not enough people focus on testimonials. But as one of my very good friends says, he's the guy that did the George Foreman grill. If they could only put one element into the ads for the George Foreman grill, it would have just been testimonials because testimonials sells better than anything else. So you get these key 5 things, and now you have a kick-ass business. And if you want to look at a business that's struggling, I guarantee it'll either be they have a staffing problem, they don't have any new leads coming in, which is a marketing problem. They don't have an audience, which will be a group of people that are almost ready to buy. Their revenue isn't in place, which means they don't have sales systems, or they have no testimonials. And if you have all 5 of these things, it's almost impossible to fail. So that's our Smart Blueprint.
I love that. Yeah, no, that's a good sounding board just to throw your business again to see where the holes are.
Yeah.
Another thing I hear you talk a lot about is the social proof piece. Um, social proof is the natural instinct to look to others for confirmation that we're doing the right thing. You just mentioned right there the George Foreman grill. If they can only do one thing, it would be with testimonials. So, talk to me about the whole testimonials process from why it's important to how we can be doing a better job getting them.
Well, first of all, let me show you how stupid humans are, just to show you how powerful this is. You and your buddy, you're walking down the road and you see a frozen lake. And your buddy's like, man, we should go and run on that lake. And then you're the voice of reason. You're like, well, what if it's not frozen solid? What if it cracks and we go into the water? You're going to really hesitate about going onto that frozen lake, right? This is a thing. Maybe you'll go in it, maybe you won't, but you'll think about it. If you're walking past a frozen lake and there's 50 people ice skating on it and somebody's grilling burgers on it and it's like free burgers come party, you guys are going to run over and party because you're just going to assume that everything's safe. Now, there's a chance that no one checked that. And I don't know about you and frozen lakes, but people ice skating, causing friction, and then cooking burgers on top of it, actually pretty damn dangerous. In fact, that's more likely to cause the ice to break than just the two of you walking over there. And yet somehow, because everyone else is there, it's got to be safe. That's social
That's a
proof.
really good point.
Right? It's human beings. We are blind to this. We will always, always trust other human beings more than we trust our own opinion. That's a natural part of our survival instinct. And no matter how much logically you can understand that you're safer doing it alone than you are with other people, you will always feel safer with other people. So once you understand this cognitive bias that humans have, you can make that work. You just have to ask yourself, did I put social proof into this thing? Whatever the thing is there social proof? And I do this with everything. Like if I invite a friend over, I'm always going to be like, hey, I got a bunch of friends coming over tonight. You want to come? As opposed to, do you want to come? Just that little bit of social proof will drive people to be like, hell yeah, I don't want to miss out. Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there every time. So, but that should factor into everything. Like I said, for me, for real estate, it was all the buyers being in the same area. For me, for dating, it's I organize social events packed with a whole bunch of different people. So it's always about building up that social proof. For your company, there are two elements in the Smart Blueprint that cover that. One is audience. You want a whole bunch of people in your audience. This is great because they're like living testimonials. They'll constantly be posting. I had a guy post the other day in the group. He's one of my clients, but he's still in like my public audience. And he's like, hey, if you ever think about doubting Adam, don't. One of the biggest things Adam ever told me just happened. My business has leveled up again because of it. I will never stop listening to this guy. And everyone's like, oh my God, so fun, so fun, so fun. Yeah, everyone's like responding. And that's got us more leads because everyone's like, well, if this guy did so good, you know, what else was there? And then of course, testimonials is another part where you put testimonials throughout your ads all over your website. In fact, I think at this point, we put testimonials on everything from the free opt-in pages, like literally people being like, I downloaded this free guide and it helped me out. So we have testimonials on every single part of the process.
All right. No, I love it. It makes total sense. And I think that ice skating analogy is like so perfect because you're not even going to think twice. You're just going to go over. And the same way, if you've got testimonials saying, oh, I bought with so and so, or I bought with my house with Mary Jo, and she did X, Y, and Z, and it was so great, and yada, yada, yada. Then all of a sudden, I'm be like, oh, Mary Jo must be really great.
Well, check this. Like, so I know the real estate industry very well. Like I said, so I've worked and I've helped a bunch of other people. Ask yourself as a realtor, how often do you get a testimonial from the seller when you sell their property? How often do you literally pull your phone out and say, do you mind just making a short video about the process? Just talk about how long it took me to sell the house and what price you got compared to what you expected. No one does. You have no evidence that you've ever actually sold a house beyond you telling people and a sign that says sold, right? How much better, rather than a picture of a house and it says sold, because people are going to look at that and be like, that doesn't look like my house. How much better if you see the face of a human and there's a little quote underneath that human that says, they sold my house within 10 days for 10% above asking price. Couldn't be happier. That's going to be a much better ad rather than 10 houses with the word sold. And in your area, we sold 10 houses. Like, no one cares. How about I had 10 very, very happy customers and I sold all of them very, very quickly, which is actually what people care about.
Yeah, I like that. It's an easy shift. Any tips on how we can collect testimonials or ways to make that easier?
Yeah, right now, it has never been easier to collect testimonials because of Zoom. Zoom has a natural thing where you can record. When I have a client, I would say, would you be okay with me recording every single one of our phone calls just so I can refer back to it and I can use that for my own notes? And they go, yep, no problem whatsoever. And so I'm going to keep talking to them. And then every time I have a meeting with them via Zoom, being recorded, so they can see my face and we can talk about everything. I'm going to say to them, how's the process going for you so far? And just that's my testimonial right there. It's cool because I'll get it from, and this is in the Smart Blueprint. You get it from the very beginning when you first work with them. Yes. And they go, oh, the onboarding process was great. And then you get it right at the very end. People are like, oh my God, thank you so much. This is amazing. I really appreciate it. You've got it all on video. And then all you do is at the very end, you've recorded it all already. Just send them a little letter that says, hey, I really loved some of the things that we said in the Zoom. Would you give me permission to use this for marketing material? I just need you to sign off on the rights to use the video. And then you cut the video.
That's a great tip. That's they're going to say yes to it most likely. You've already recorded it. And those you just, you can have an editor montage up pretty easily. And then you've got really good, like in the heat of the moment type testimonials too. It's not, 2 weeks after the home sold.
Exactly. And they're going to be excited. And imagine if when you tell them the home sold is on Zoom, recorded.
Yeah.
Hey, I just need to have another meeting with you if that's okay. I got some news about the property. Yeah, sure, no problem. Meet up on Zoom. So I've got some interesting news. I know you were hoping to sell the property for asking price. Unfortunately, I have sold it for 10% above. Is that okay? Right? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's amazing. You're going to get that on camera, right? That's just what you want.
Yeah. No, I like that a lot. That's really good. And I like the Zoom strategy for kind of collecting them as you go, because everyone says, and it makes total sense, just collect the testimonials as you go. Like do it while they're in the heat of the moment, because then you get those real genuine reactions, and that's kind of gold for your marketing.
Yep. And then just cut it up and there's your editing.
Very cool. So I know another thing that you talk a lot about that's also come up a couple times is audience. And you always talk about like you got to engage with your audience. So talk to me a little bit about that and how we can leverage that to grow our business.
Yeah. So again, most realtors, when they're selling, they're focusing on, look at this new property, look at this new property. Like I've got a bunch of clients that are realtors and they're constantly posting, look at this new property. I'm always telling them, could you stop posting about the property? Like, there's no way that you're going to post a property and I'm going to be like, I want to buy that. Unless it's like some weird castle type thing, right? Like that. There's a bunch of those Facebook pages, have all those weird, and everyone's like, I want to buy that. And then no one ever does, right? It's so much better if instead you're posting about the market and the news around it. That's a better thing for realtors to be posting about. So you want to be posting stuff like, it looks like interest rates are going to change, right? Like, so now is a great opportunity, or we're at the best mortgage rates we're likely to see in the next 3 years. If you're going to buy, you want to buy now. Or did you know that this new mortgage package has come out from one bank and it can help you in such and such a scenario? Or did you know that there are people looking to part purchase with you so that they can have, a piece of your property that you rent and you own? And they take a portion of the rent, which makes it easier for you to buy. Things like that. Just these kind of like little programs. You're just talking about them constantly, because that will retain the people as the audience. Because it's not first-time buyers that are going to come listen. The first-time buyers, you want to give them like a little education packet and then they're done. It's the people that are buying 2, 3, 4, 5 times. They're going to want to keep following you and listening to what you have to say. But like I said, most of the realtors, unless they're like actually implementing what I say, they're not posting the right kind of stuff that's going to keep me interested. Like, like you can buy a property through your Roth IRA, and most people don't know that. But like I said, I got an amazing realtor and she spoke to us about it, and, we're knowledgeable about financial stuff. So it all pans out. And obviously it's complicated and there's ways to do it, but still that's the kind of stuff that as a realtor, you want to be telling your second, third, fourth time buyers. Like, you've already bought one house that was through you and your credit. Did you know you can use your Roth IRA to buy a different one?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really good point, because, and I agree, most realtors just post like, oh, new listing, new escrow, new this, new that. And like, yes, in an essence, that's kind of social proof, but it would be a lot better, especially like you said, for your more seasoned people to be talking just more about relevant market things, that are actually going on that kind of make you the expert and make people want to continue listening after the sale.
Exactly. Rather than just focusing on being a salesperson, focus on being, like I said, an educator, because you should be an educator, because that's where you're going to attract your next round of buyers, is by education. The sales process should always come from somebody reaching out to you and saying, hey, can you sell me something? Right. And by all means, like, and if I was going to post pictures of homes, it wouldn't be like, this is now listed, because I would be sending that to people that are actively looking. But to my general audience, that's probably not what I'd be posting. I would probably be posting, here's a cool house that maybe isn't mine, that maybe isn't on with me. Like, I just found this really cool house. Here's what I like about it. Or if I was going to post my listings, it wouldn't be look at this listing. It would be, here's 3 quirky features of my latest listing. Now that's cool. Like, and so it'd be like, it's got this cool room under the stairs, or, just 3 fun things. So it's not like I'm trying to sell. I'm just like excited about the home. Like the house that one of the houses that I bought, one of my investment properties, it's one long corridor through the house, a door at one end and a door at the other end, and all the rooms are off of it. And it's really bad for a family unit because you just get this weird long corridor. But for rental, it's amazing, which is what we do with it, because everyone's got their own private rooms that go into a central corridor that leads to wherever you want. So it's beautiful. But it would have been awesome if our realtor just contacted us before it was on the market, so whatever, we won. But if it was going to be promoted, it would be cool if it was like, look at the weird quirky layout of this house, and then have the realtor say, in my opinion, this doesn't make a good family home, but it does make a really good a home for sublet or for Airbnb or what have you. And I think there's something to be said when a realtor is willing to say the good and the bad, right? Like, here's what I don't like about this, but here's what I think is really cool, or here's what I think the hidden opportunity is. And that's going to get people to listen to you.
So talk to me about what you just said right there about talking about the good and the bad. Because one thing I noticed about your bio is it starts out with 3 reasons not to hire me. So talk to me about that.
Yeah, I think when you try to appeal to everyone, people are just going to call BS and then pull away from you. If you talk about the things that are not good about you, that's when people will really decide whether they're going to work with you. Because if somebody reads the 3 things that are bad about working with you, and at the end of it, they're like, I don't have a problem with any of those things, they're going to sign up right there and then. They're like, wow, this guy is open enough to explain what's bad about him, and I don't have a problem with any of these 3 things, so I'm down. Like, so I know I'm polarizing. There are some people, like, I guarantee you at the beginning of this, they heard the word pickup artist and they were like, I'm out. Like, I don't want to hear anything this guy says. Great. Like, you won't like me. Like, I have a lot of sex with my wife, and we have wild, crazy parties that I won't go into on this. But the point is, that's the kind of guy I am. And there are some people that hear that and they're like, screw this guy. I don't want anything to do with him. And I'm going to be real with you. I'm going to say things that you won't like, that are not, I'm not going to pull any punches. You're going to hear it all, whether you like it or not. And there are some people like, don't like that guy. That's fine. But the people that are like, wait, so this guy's going to give me the real deal. And if it's a bad deal, he's going to tell me and he's going to warn me of this stuff. I'm like, yeah, well, straight up. Because I don't care about making the sale. I care about being real. I care about that more than anything. And then they're like, he cusses a bit. I'm like, I do. Absolutely. And they're like, it's fine. I can put up with cussing, and I can put up with he's got his own personal life, as long as he's not throwing it in my face, which I don't. Then they're like, yeah, that's fine. Just give me the real deal. Now they know when they go with me, I'm going to tell them the truth.
Yeah. The authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100%. Very cool. So I like that. Speaking of the pickup artist past, how would you recommend realtors pick up new clients? Like, is there ways to approach people to just get real estate conversations started?
Yeah, I think like I always look at like those pages that have like for the love of old homes, like that kind of stuff. And I love those because they show these like really cool old properties. If I was going to do it, I would probably I live in a place called Page, Texas, right? Page is a tiny little town outside of a tiny little town outside of Austin. So it's like three towns removed. If I was going to sell in Page, I would create a Facebook page that isn't about me being a realtor. And it's just unique properties in and around the Page area. And I would focus on going through Zillow and finding cool properties that may not even be available, that have cool pictures. And once again, I'd make a Facebook post. Here's a cool picture. Write something about what's cool about it. Show what I would do if I was going to do it up. And I'd just constantly posting properties that aren't even on my books. Just cool stuff. And then I'd be in the local community pages telling them, hey, if you find any cool properties in the area that you'd like to add to my Facebook page or my Facebook group, I'd love you to please add some. How cool. I don't sound like I'm trying to sell anything. I'm this cool guy. I'm not even saying I'm a realtor. I'm just like, come here and check out these properties, right? Boom, boom, boom. And then whenever I get a cool property on my books to sell, then I'm going to be like, hey, here's a fun one. Boom, boom, boom. By the way, I'm listing this one. If you want to buy it, contact me. So now I've got this really cool page full of people that clearly love unique properties in this specific area. And then when I get one, people are going to jump on it and buy. And that's how I would do this. And that will get me a massive audience of just people that like properties. And they'll talk to each other. They'll be like, oh, did you see that cool? And again, they don't even have to be available, right? They just have to be cool. And that will get people in the group, and it will get me a much larger audience that I can then do the education.
That's a really great strategy. Yeah, I love that because it's not just about building an audience, right? Like all the gurus and stuff, they're always talking about building an audience, but building an audience of property enthusiasts or real estate investors or old home lovers or whatever it is, that's going to be far more valuable to a real estate business than anything else.
Yeah, for sure. That's how you do it. But that's the problem with a lot of these gurus. And that's the difference. Like, I'm a practical guy. A lot of these gurus, they just want to be followed and have a lot of following and say, like, I always get irritated when I listen to most of the gurus with huge audiences. Actually, I got into an argument with this company I'm working with. They're doing some marketing for us. And they kept bringing us a bigger and bigger audience. But as the audience got bigger, the leads got worse. And I said to them, I was like, I don't care if my page only grows by 5 people a month, as long as those 5 people want to buy my stuff. I was like, I don't really care about this. It's not a vanity metric to me. But they started doing market research on like the best in the industry. And the advice was really bad. The bigger the audience was, the worse the advice from the guru was. And I was like, I'm not that guy. Like, I don't need a big audience. I just want to tell the truth and really help people and find people that really want to learn from me, because I'm going to tell it as it is. And I won't dilute what I teach just to be popular. You know, I'm not in this for popularity. Same thing. But if I was going to be in a popularity contest, I wouldn't want it based on me. I'd want it based on the thing I'm enthusiastic about, which is cool freaking homes. If I was a realtor, that's what it would be. And the reason I bring up Page is, like, I live in this tiny little town, but Page has a bunch of cool historical buildings, like really old farms. And, you know, I actually, the land I bought, I've got the Page post office, the original one. The foundation is on the back of my land. And it's right where the old train track that's turned into a road is. And like, I got some friends of mine that they're creating an archaeological site on my land, and they're digging it up and looking at all this old history. How freaking cool. Imagine if someone was going to sell or even if you weren't going to sell my property, taking pictures of my archaeological site in my garden. I'd be like, here's a fun one. The old Page post office in the back of this guy's land, and they've done an archaeological site and they're digging stuff up. Freaking cool. Right. Yeah. And that's, everyone that lives in Page would want to follow that. Like, I want to see what's going on. That's kind of cool. And now you've just collected every single home enthusiast in town.
Exactly. And you could really do it for any niche. Like, we're in San Diego. You could do San Diego beach houses. You could do new homes. You could do old homes, vintage homes, you know, colonial, whatever it is, any
building,
type of thing.
Yep. Just like modern, like cool modern homes in San Diego, right? That would be a great page. And and again, you start by just sharing them on Zillow, the good pictures, or, you know, on, I forget the name of the American real estate website portal, but you've got that internal portal that you guys, MCS, I think it is, right?
Yeah, that's quite, yeah.
But anyway, but there's that internal portal. It's got all the pictures. You just go in there and be like, hey, I found this really cool one. Check it out. This is great. This is so cool. And they don't have to be listed with you. But then when you get one, you put it up there and be like, this one's cool, and it is listed with me. And now you're going to have people like opt in, right? And again,
and another hack too is you can even post the realtor's information and then give it to them, and hopefully they share your page. Look, we were featured on, you know, Cool Modern Homes San Diego. Check this out.
Absolutely. It's a no-brainer. And like I said, and then, you know, once a month, by the way, if you've just joined my page, like, and you can, or Facebook group, right? You tag everyone. Hey, these are all the new people. By the way, guys, as a welcome gift, just remember, I've got my my little education packet. It's a video and a PDF. Talks about, if you're a first-time buyer, everything you need to know about buying a home. It's all in there. I'll remind you, if got any questions, you can phone me. Thanks ever so much. Boom. Continue on.
Yeah, love that. Really good stuff. That's a great marketing strategy. I love it.
Thank you.
Cool. So I just have a couple quick questions to wrap with. You mentioned earlier you give away your tools and tips. I think that's always really important because I think as entrepreneurs and business owners, just sharing tools and hacks and tips that are working is really important. And I always like to ask people, like, what are some tools that you really like, softwares, apps that are just moving the needle or saving you money, saving you time, any of that?
Yeah, so for me right now, the biggest is Trello. I couldn't live without Trello. Trello is just phenomenal. We use it for everything. We use Active
Mm,
Campaign for all of our mailing. Like Active Campaign's
active
phenomenal.
campaign, yeah.
Yeah, but I really like Community as well now, which not a lot of people have moved on to yet. And I think for realtors, Community is probably better. It's more of a social kind of like text based, but it has a 90% response rate compared to other things. So it's just very, very highly responsive.
Wow. And
And
what
for
is that? Is that a CRM or is that a
Community is a phone-based CRM for texting, and it
cool?
is only $100 a month. It's a lot. It's a lot more. It's not as robust as something like Active Campaign, but you can do it all from your phone. But it
Mm,
handles all the legal requirements of opt-ins and stuff. They handle it for you, so you don't have to worry about like your compliance. They do it all. So like if you try and post something that's not compliant, it warns you and says, "Hey, you can't post this, and here's why." So it's pretty cool. It's
oh,
like
perfect.
automatically protects you from breaking any laws within reason, I think. So yeah, so I really like it. So I think Community is like a solid, simple CRM that anybody could use.
Yeah, love it. That's good stuff right there. So active campaign, community, and what was the first one? Trello.
And Trello, yeah, I love Trello.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, we use Trello as well. We actually use it for this podcast. Just I like how you can move each episode through the steps, and as things happen, different people get triggered. So
Yeah,
definitely with you there.
I think it's normal. Actually, we use it for our clients. Our client portal, like I said, we have that indoctrination process. We use Trello for the indoctrination, so they can see all the cards listed out and everything they've got to do to. We create a custom Trello when we onboard somebody. Thanks ever so much. Here's your Trello. This is how you're going to move through this, and so we get like a standardized experience for all of our customers.
Love that. Yeah, no, that's a great way to do it. Cool. Well, I just have one final question I like to ask everyone. I have two young boys at home, and I always like to just ask other successful people, what advice would you give to the young kids out there on how to be successful in life
So
and business?
I got 5 kids. So this is something that
Oh, wow. Okay.
I think about a lot. I always think my 11-year-old is pretty successful as a human being. So, and this is, we've cultivated this. So first of all, I have one business lesson that I remind my 11-year-old over and over again. I'm like, a successful business has 3 components. What are they? And I'll just randomly point to them and say it. And so my kid will say to me, they have an audience, they have a product, and they have a sales process. I'm like, good boy. I'm like, that's it. You're three components. I say it to him over and over again.
I
And then
like
we'll
it.
go somewhere like a McDonald's. And I'm like, okay, where's the audience? And he's like, well, all the people inside the restaurant. I'm like, no, you're wrong. Where's the audience? And he's like, the people that drive by the billboards. I'm like, much better. I was like, so that's your audience, right? I was like, what's the sales process? And he goes, the billboard itself. I was like, okay, is there a call to action on the billboard? What does it say? It says, well, it's 3 miles to the nearest McDonald's. You have to turn right. I'm like, great. It's a call to action. So we have a sales process. What's the product? And he's like, burgers. I'm like, good job, right? So I'll make him go through this over and over again. What that has led to is me saying to him, when he's hanging out at my house, if you were going to sell something today, where's the audience? And so my kid starts looking around and he's like, well, the visitors that come to the house. I'm like, okay, cool. I was like, what product could you sell them? And so he's like, well, I don't know. I was like, what do they need? Now, we live on a farm in the middle of nowhere. When you drive down our road, your car gets dirty. And so I've hinted at him a bit, but he's like, they need a clean car. I'm like, okay, can you clean a car? He's like, no. I'm like, how could you learn if you needed to learn this? And he goes, well, I could go on YouTube. I'm like, all right, go on YouTube. Goes on YouTube, learns how to clean a car. And he goes, Dad, I don't have the tools. What can you do about that? He's like, well, I can buy them. I was like, okay, would you have the money for that? He's like, no. I was like, how much do you need? He goes, I don't know. So you better go find out. So he goes on Amazon, works it out. He's like, Dad, I need $172 or something. I'm like, okay, do you want to borrow $172? And so he's like, to buy the product? I was like, yeah. And he goes, yeah, I think I do. I'm like, okay, cool. These are my repayment terms. Every penny you make is mine until you pay back 172. He goes, okay. So I buy him all the equipment. So now he's got the equipment. Now he's got the audience. And he goes, now what do I do? I was like, well, what do you need next? He goes, well, I need a conversion process. And so my kid, as people turn up in the house, he goes, hey, your car looks a bit dirty. And I'm like, yeah, I know, I need to clean it. He goes, you want me to clean it for you? And the guy's like, yeah. He's like, okay, it's $20. And so my kid sells cleaning cars at our house. You come and visit my house, you're going to get sold. He's going to clean your car, but he pays back the money. And like my son makes anywhere from 150 to $300 a week between cleaning cars. And he does this for other things. He's constantly doing choices. He's 11 years old and he's got more disposable income than almost, he bought himself an Xbox, the new one, the Xbox Series X.
Good.
Like, yeah. And that is my tip. Like if I could give in, I do this to all my kids. I take them through this process and I'm just guiding them. How can you elicit needs? How can you take them through the sales process? What's the audience you've got available to you? You know, because not everyone can just create the audience they want. What product do they need? Develop the product based on that need. And I just do that over and over again.
I love it. That's really good. It's not only just like telling them stuff, it's actually making them think about how the entrepreneur would answer the question and just basically teaching them to be entrepreneurs.
Yeah, just how do you solve what is the problem other people have? How can you solve it? If you don't know how to do it, how can you find that information? There's a really good quote from Robert Kiyosaki. I really love Rich Dad Poor Dad. Like the original book was just phenomenal. It was one of the big changes in my life. But there's this great quote he says, which is, you don't have to be confident you can do the thing. You have to be confident that you can find the information to do the thing. And I love that. And I think that's the real confidence, is knowing you can work it out.
I love it. Well, great way to end it. I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate all the great advice. Guys, make sure you check Adam out as well at the smartblueprint.com. He's got a ton of great insight on there. And, he's also doing coaching for Ryan Deiss, for Roland Frasier. Definitely check out their programs as well, because if you really want to take your business to the next level, these guys can certainly help you with that. Absolutely. So if you have any other questions, put them in the box down below. If you like money and you like real estate, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next one.